Another, actually, one thing I do recommend, getting your mom or someone that does the cooking in your house, teach you how to make
a few home-cooked meals. The way to survive. Yeah, Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh was actually... Winnie the Pooh was named after Winnipeg.
Just right?
Yeah.
Oke, halo semuanya, balik lagi bersama kita di AECC di podcast kita bernama Kumat, Kuliah Keluar Negeri di Malam Jumat.
Kuliah Keluar Negeri di Malam Jumat.
Saya Daniel Tembunan, AECC, konselor AECC, dan hari ini kita akan bicara tentang Kanada, especially Manitoba. Oke, belajar dan study dan living di Manitoba. Oke, malam ini kita punya special guest, yaitu Lindsay Penwick, Director Marketing and Recruitment from ICM, International College of Manitoba. Okay, hi Lindsay, how are you?
Hey Daniel, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Okay, so this one, today we're gonna talk about Manitoba and Canada anyway. And most of students that coming to AECC usually asking about, Ontario or Quebec or Vancouver or the other city or Regina, probably some of them. And today we're gonna talk about Manitoba because Manitoba for Indonesian students might be not that popular yet. But since you're coming here, probably you can tell us more about what makes Manitoba an attractive destination for study.
Yeah, I would love to. So I'm like you said, I work at the International College of Manitoba, which is a first-year pathway to the University of Manitoba in the city of Winnipeg. So Manitoba is the province. It's right in the center of Canada. So if you picture Canada, picture the middle, that's Manitoba, and then the capital city is Winnipeg, and we're near the U.S. border. And so that's where we are. But exactly like you said, there are so many cities in Canada. Yes. It's a really big country. There's lots of places to explore. And I find once you start getting outside of some of those bigger centers, you really get a lot of great benefits because those places really want to attract international students. They usually have much lower living costs, much more affordable tuition fees. Job opportunities are usually less competitive. And in a province like Manitoba, we even have a provincial nominee program, which means that it's a government program set up to help international student graduates who are graduating from a Manitoba school and then living and working in Manitoba afterwards. Because as you probably know, in Canada, once you graduate from, let's say, a university, you can apply for a 3-year work permit. And so if you're living and working in Manitoba after having graduated from a Manitoba school like the University of Manitoba, you can actually apply for permanent residency and pursue immigration a little bit quicker and easier. We have more friendly immigration policies, especially with that provincial nominee program. So it really shows that our province wants international students. We are a really friendly and welcoming place as well. It's really diverse. I think there's two important things when you're thinking about where you're going to live. You want to think about the type of city, the environment. In a city like Winnipeg, it's a medium-sized city. So it's about the 7th largest in Canada. And so you are in the capital city of a big province. And so you're going to have all of those things that a big city offers. Great shopping, awesome food scene, food from all over the world. We're really well known for our restaurants. We've got amazing arts and culture. The Royal Winnipeg Ballet is in Winnipeg. It's the oldest ballet company in all of North America. We celebrate over 130 days of festivals. Actually, one of my favorite festivals happens in the winter time. It's called Festival de Voyageurs. It celebrates French-Canadian heritage, but it's in winter, so we make these big snow sculptures, and there's live music in these heated tents, and it's a really fun time. Because you will see all 4 seasons. So coming to Canada, most places in Canada, actually almost all places in Canada, you will see winter time, you'll see snow.
Great.
In Winnipeg, we're known for our winters. We really love our winters. And so people like to get outside and enjoy winter activities just as much as they do in the summertime. And so in the winter time, we have 2 big rivers that flow through Winnipeg. They freeze. And we make the world's longest naturally frozen skating trail with pop-up restaurants and art installations. And on, a typical January day, which is in the middle of our winter, you'll see families and little kids and international students and everybody out skating and just enjoying a beautiful sunny winter day. And you'll see just as many people out there in the wintertime as you would on a beautiful July day, which is the middle of our summer. So we really love getting outdoors. Our air is clean. We're one of the sunniest cities in Canada. Lots of nature. Of course, in parks in Winnipeg, but once you go outside of Winnipeg too, we have over 100,000 freshwater lakes in our province. So lots of beautiful places to explore. So there's it's a really vibrant city. I've lived in Winnipeg for almost 20 years now, having, I can't remember if I said this, but I'm actually a University of Manitoba graduate myself. I've grown up in Manitoba, moved to Winnipeg for university. I've lived overseas a lot. Like we were talking about earlier, I've spent some time in Indonesia. I lived in North Africa, but I come back to Winnipeg because it offers, it really, for me, it allowed me to do a lot of things. It allowed me to have this really fun lifestyle outdoors at arts and culture festivals, but it also allowed me to purchase a home. Our living costs are much more affordable. So I was able to do that much earlier than some of my friends in other cities in Canada. I think Manitoba is really attractive for students and their parents because they're going to be thinking about long term, right? Maybe you're coming to study for for 4 years. So we're looking at 5, 6, 7+ years in the future. And you're trying to predict what is the job situation going to be like once you graduate. Manitoba has a very diverse economy, and we have consistently low unemployment rates. So that is sort of a bit of an assurance, I think, for students and parents. They know we've got that immigration stream for international student graduates. We've got a lot of immigration, or a lot of job opportunities. We're a major aerospace hub in Western Canada. We're a tech hub for Central Canada. The biggest insurance company in Canada is headquartered in Winnipeg. We have some really cool biotech labs. In fact, the treatment for Ebola was discovered in one of those laboratories in Winnipeg. And that's just to name a few of our industries. So there's a lot of job opportunities, and they all are looking at the University of Manitoba to hire our students and hire our graduates because we're the biggest university in the province. A couple fun facts actually about Winnipeg. Maybe people may not know about the city very much, but I guarantee you know Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh Winnie the Pooh was named after Winnipeg.
Just right.
Yeah, so he's a real bear. And a real bear that was a soldier from Winnipeg was on his way to I guess to the UK to fight in World War II. Along the way, he adopted a bear cub. Brought it with him to England. I mean, I guess that's what you did back, would not do that now. But so he brought his little bear cub, but obviously couldn't take it with him when he went to go fight on the front line. So he donated it to the London Zoo. And he named his bear cub Winnie after his hometown of Winnipeg. And so Winnie the bear cub at the London Zoo then went on to become a favorite of a little boy named Christopher Robin. And then the rest was history. His father wrote the books, Winnie the Pooh, and it's all based on a real bear cub in the London Zoo named after Winnipeg.
Okay, so is it common that we can see many bears there, or?
Bears? Well, not so much. I mean, outside of Winnipeg, not just roaming the streets. No, in like forests. Yeah, sure, you could find bears in the forest.
Okay, so it says that Manitoba is a lockline, right? Lockline for things. I mean, like if you want to see, I want to go to the beach or everywhere that want to swim or just chill out after stressing out during school and everything else. Where is the closest to Winnipeg or to Manitoba for example, in summer?
For a beach?
Yes.
Yeah, we've got a lot of great beaches. My favorite beach is Victoria Beach.
Oh, Victoria.
So it's a freshwater lake beach,
okay.
right?
So Victoria is in the other province.
Victoria Beach would be about an hour's drive from Winnipeg.
Great.
Yeah. So you just, I mean, if you have a friend with a car, hop in the car, do a little bit of a road trip. And it's on the shores of Lake Manitoba, which is a huge lake. You can't see the other side of the shore. It's so big. And yeah, it's beautiful white sand, and it's a lovely place to hang out for the day.
Great. So, okay. So we're talking about Manitoba, and then this time we're talking about the students' life in Manitoba. So, you know, probably you mentioned a while ago that diversity in Manitoba is, the student is very diverse over there. So, in scale of 1 to 10, the ratio between the, you know, the diversity of the students in Manitoba, probably from Asia or South Asia, is there any ratio? I mean, like sometimes a university is just occupied by this area with these nations. Like for example, most of them are China, or most of them are India. How about the diversity in Manitoba?
Yeah, there's huge diversity. So we're a campus of about 30,000 students. About 20% are international students coming from over 110 countries.
Okay, great. That's
so great. You can find students from Indonesia, definitely. There's actually a lot of our ICM students and alumni are really active in the local Indonesian association, Permika. And so they get really involved and they'll host events for other Indonesians, but also Canadians too. If you go to our YouTube channel, you can watch a video from Nathania, who's from here in Jakarta, and she talks about her being really involved. I find a lot of our Indonesian students love to get involved in school clubs and societies, but also community associations too, which is really great to see because it's such an important part of a university experience. Is not just what's in the classroom, that's part of it, but everything outside of the classroom too. And getting involved in student clubs is a really great way to meet other students, but also build some really good skills that employers will look for when you're applying for part-time jobs or co-op jobs, or of course, once you graduate.
Okay, since you mentioned about the part-time job and then the students coming to Canada, probably they're still, anyway, what is the minimum age for ICM can get into it for international students?
Age?
Yes.
Age, yeah. So we'll accept students as long as they're going to turn 17 by the end of their first term. Okay,
by the end of the first term. So it's going to be 17, and then those who coming from, example, from Indonesia, probably if they are still under 18, still juvenile, and then still, you know, still confused and everything else. And how did Manitoba can support them? Like, you know, students in Indonesia or students coming from Indonesia, especially, they're very spoiled. Everything for them did by someone, for their mate or everything else. And then if they come to Canada or to Manitoba, and then it's going to be an individual or independent. So how did this Manitoba can support them in terms of their independent?
Exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, when you're an international student, you're 17 or 18 years old, this is a really exciting time, but it also takes a lot of bravery, right? To move, leave your family, leave your friends, move to this new country. Maybe you've never even been there before. You're coming to this big university. And I think that's another really important thing for students and parents to think about, is what kind of environment will really be the most supportive and help them to be the most successful they can be, even from their first year. And that's exactly why the University of Manitoba has been partnering with ICM for 15 years now. This is our 15-year anniversary, because universities around the world, they recognize that international students may need an environment that's a little more tailored to help them with that adjustment, because they didn't grow up in high school. They didn't grow up in Canada. They didn't go to high school in Canada. Even people like me who did grow up in Canada, it's also a big shock to come to university. There's brand new expectations. Like you said, you're living away, usually for the first time in your life. It's a lot that you have to navigate. And as an international student, you're doing this away from your family, away from your friends, in a brand new country. You know, there might be culture shock, language barriers. And so ICM is a really popular way for international students to study at the University of Manitoba. We focus on that first year environment. So our expertise is helping international students with that transition from high school here in Indonesia or many other countries around the world to university in Canada. So our university transfer programs, stage 2, it's equal to the first year of a University of Manitoba degree. So you'd study on the same campus, you'd have access to all the facilities like the dorms, the active living center, the big sports and rec facility, and all of the other world-class amenities that a big university like University of Manitoba offers. But when you're in the ICM classrooms, you have about 30 or 35 other students with you. So like, as an example, me, when I went to the University of Manitoba, I walked into my first lecture and there were like 300 other students in that room. I never asked a question. I don't even think my instructor knew who I was. I never spoke to my classmates. We just went in, we sat, we listened to the lecture, and we left. With an ICM class, it's totally different. So you come in, you're in a classroom of about 30 or 35 students. You have more time with your instructor, and you really get a chance to have that opportunity to absorb your first year material in a setting that's really customized for international students, but at the same time being on the campus, and everything, all of our courses are closely monitored and approved by the university. So you know that you're studying the same material. It's just the way that it's being delivered will really help with that soft landing into Canadian education. And it's not just the academics, that's a big part of it too, helping you with study skills and things. We have a lot of great workshops, modules that you can even do before you come over to help you prepare for university studies. A first term workshop course that you'll study that will teach you how to be a successful university student. But it's more than that too. Like I said, it's helping cope with homesickness, social events to help you meet new friends and get to know your new city and your new campus, and just help with that adjustment. So it's really that environment that a lot of students, and when I talk to our students, our alumni, and actually students can go on our website and send messages to our student ambassadors from all over the world. We have a couple from Southeast Asia on there too. But whenever I talk to our alumni, they always talk about how much they miss the ICM environment once they move into the University of Manitoba, because it's just so supportive and really helps you to be the best you can be in your first year.
Okay, that's a fascinating news anyway. So, okay, you mentioned about the part-timer before. So what is the minimum age for a part-timer anyway? So as soon as they come into ICM, for example, they're still under
I really don't recommend working in your first year. Actually, as a domestic student, we don't usually work in our first year if we don't have to, because it's a big adjustment moving into university. University becomes your full-time job. You not only go to your classes, but then there's all of the study that you have to do outside of the classroom. So it's a good idea not to plan to pick up a part-time job in your first year, but you can get involved in those student clubs like I was talking about. Those help you to build really good skills like time management, leadership, communication skills, group work skills that are looked very favorably on by Canadian employers, but are a little bit less demanding, and you can more easily balance your academics, because you're coming to be a student, right? You're coming to be a student. Your focus is academics.
Yeah, that's true.
But once you're into second year, or especially third year and fourth year, you can look at, and so to answer your question, there's no minimum age. Like if you're a university student, you'd be able to work if you have work rights on your study permit. So it's not age related at that point. Usually like 15-year-olds get jobs in Canada. Like I had my first job, I think, when I was 14 or 15.
15?
Yeah, but so as a university student though, like once you move through your university, I think co-op programs are the thing to really plan on doing to help you get work experience, paid work experience.
Paid work experience.
But those are opportunities that you would do in your third and fourth year. And it's called co-op because it's a cooperative agreement between the university and different employers in the city or wherever you might end up. It's optional, but it's really recommended if your program offers it, because you'll work in your field of study, you'll earn high quality work experience, you'll be paid well, and it'll help you to really network and build your references and your network for after you graduate. And actually, the business school where I studied, students that graduated from the business school and had done co-op, 99% of them have full-time job offers within 90 days of graduation.
After graduation.
So it's a great, and a lot of those would be with their co-op employers. So it's a really great way to make yourself highly in demand in the job market and having built some network for yourself, because networking will be really important too.
Yeah, that's true. So if you have a good networking, then it's going to be easier for you to get a job and then get hired for full time.
Exactly, they already know you.
Yeah,
the employer already knows you.
Yeah. Okay, so regarding to the accommodation, a while ago you mentioned, so is there any provided accommodations, or the students has to be looking or seek for themselves, and then or the university already prepare for them for the accommodation?
Yeah, students can choose where they want to live. So it's great in that way. They can look at the options and then choose where they want to book. They can live in the University of Manitoba's dormitories or residences. There's 5 different residences on campus. There's ones with private rooms and private washrooms. There's one with shared rooms, so you'd have a roommate. They all have meal plans, so you don't have to worry about cooking and grocery shopping in your first year. But they also have a community kitchen, so if you want to cook some food with your friends, something from back home, you could do that on the weekend. So that's available. Students also really like homestay. That would be pairing you with a family off campus. That really helps you to get to know the community better. A lot of our students that live in homestay really like the opportunity to be out and get to know the city and have sort of an insider, right, a local showing you around and helping you navigate your new environment. If you have a family or friend and you want to live with them, you can do that too. So there's no set accommodations. We have all the helpful links on our website, so students can research. I think the biggest piece of advice when it comes to accommodations anywhere in Canada is to book early, because they're often first come, first serve. And domestic students will usually book their accommodations like 6 or more months in advance. So the best way to secure your top choice or the more popular options is to book your accommodations. As soon as you get an offer letter and you decide you want to come to Canada, do book your accommodations as early as possible.
Okay, which one is more affordable? Is it living in dormitory campus or living outside the campus?
Well, we usually, I would say homestay could be a little bit more affordable. Of course, it depends on you and your ability to budget and how much you like to shop and go out. But and we actually do have, because we get that this is also the first time that students might be managing their own money and really having to think about a budget. So we have a lot of great budgeting workshops and financial sort of knowledge workshops to help students build that capacity. But yeah, so I would say probably homestay is a little bit more affordable. With living on campus, though, you're paying for the convenience of being right on campus. I lived on campus my first 2 years. It is such a fun, like it's a very quintessential university experience, right? You're on the campus, you're with you'll meet so many friends, and you'll have a really great time living in the dorms. So I think both options are really great. And with the residences, there are different residences with different budgets. So if you went to the University of Manitoba's website, you could take a look, do tours, room tours, and see all the different pricing to see what matches your budget.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Anyway, if you are staying in a dormitory, you get along easily with the students, and then might be many students can lead you where to buy your food and anything else, right? Okay.
Like, believe it or not, I mean, I am still an introvert, but I was very shy as a high school student, and so when I moved to the University of Manitoba, because I didn't live in Winnipeg when I was going to high school, I lived in a small town about 400 kilometers away. So when I moved to the University of Manitoba, I also didn't know very many people. And so, living in dorms or just joining those student clubs, going out to events. I mean, you have to remember, first year university, it might feel like everybody else has friends, but they're all in this new university by themselves too. So everyone's really open. And I also in Manitoba, Winnipeg, we're very known for being friendly.
Yes.
So, you know, just I think, and like a student, like I was mentioning, Nathania, who's from Indonesia, and we have her video on our YouTube channel. I mean, that's what she said she did. She'd just go to events and get involved in student clubs, because that's a great way to meet people.
Yeah.
And then it just helps to make your university experience so much more fun.
Okay, so this is our last question. Preparation for international students. So what do prospective international students need to prepare before coming to Manitoba?
Great.
You know, sometimes people are unaware or unprepared yet that they coming just, I want to study abroad, and they don't prepare anything else. So what do they prepare for?
Yeah, you know what, I'd say in my experience, Indonesian students are very prepared, but it's a great idea.
Really?
Even like early, I met when I was at the education fair on the weekend, I met lots of students in grade 10 or grade 11.
Yeah.
So it's a great idea as early as you can to start doing research. Maybe that's coming to AECC Global and doing some research through your websites and your platforms, or going to education fairs, or just going to university websites. But really start doing some research. Think about all the different options outside of those, not just outside of the big cities that you might have heard of, but also think about different degree options too, because there's a lot out there, and I guarantee you that there's going to be a degree that you'll find that you'll be really passionate about. So think outside the box when it comes to those things. So research is number one. The more that you can learn about your prospective university and the degree, and you can find so much online, that'll really help you to feel confident about your choice. Reach out to students and alumni that are already studying there. Lots of universities will have platforms. Like I mentioned on our website, the ICM website, icmanitoba.ca, there's a little card that pops up, meet our students. You can message with our ambassadors. You can ask students questions and get their experience. So you can also find out from their perspective what it's actually like living there, studying there, being on the campus. As you're getting ready, so maybe once you're towards the end of grade 11 or starting grade 12, that's when you can start looking at applying. I recommend applying as early as possible, even 10 to 12 months before you plan to join. You can start submitting applications to universities, get your offers, and so you can really make that decision. And then about probably 6 to 8 months before, start thinking about your accommodations and getting the documents that you need for your study permit and visa application. And then probably 4 to 6 months in advance, that's when you can accept your offer, you can apply for your visa, you can start making all of those final. One thing I do recommend, getting your mom or someone that does the cooking in your house, teach you how to make a few home-cooked meals.
The way to survive.
It'll survive, but also your comfort food, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Because the food might be a little different in Canada, and so learn how to make some of your favorite recipes so you can make them for yourself when you come over, but also make them for friends and share it with your friends. And just, get maybe some of those tips on living by yourself. Start doing some of those things. Thinking about what to pack. Obviously, you know, we wear casual clothes around the university, but if you're coming in the September or January, you'll want to bring some warm clothes, but also plan to buy some good quality winter clothes once you come over to Canada. You're going to book your ticket and you're going to be on the campus. We'll have big orientation events and other activities to help you get to know it. And I think the biggest thing is always remember to ask somebody if you have questions. So ask your AECC counselor, ask the university if you have questions anyway, even before you come over, and especially once you arrive, meet with the student advisors and get help directly from the staff, because that's what we're here for, especially at ICM. If you apply, you'd be talking to me. I'd be the one emailing you. And so we always love to get questions, and there's no silly questions. So usually also universities will have webinars, especially ICM. We have a lot of webinars that we do, virtual events that you can join before you come over. So that'll also really help you to feel more prepared.
Okay.
And then the biggest thing is just to have fun.
Yes.
You know, you're going to be coming to this new adventure, new city, new country. Remember that it's normal to have highs and lows, right? It's going to be really exciting, but there's also going to be some challenges, but just know that there's a whole support network around you to help you navigate those challenges. But it's really exciting. So I can't wait to see more students from Indonesia coming over to Winnipeg and ICM. And just thank you so much for giving me the chance to be on your podcast today, talking more about Manitoba, because I think it's a hidden gem in Canada, and I really want to see more people come and experience everything that we have to offer.
Okay, thank you, Lindsay, for all the fascinating and then all the supportive informations that you share with us today. And thank you, everyone, for watching, for listening to our podcast. Okay, so bye-bye. See you in the next episode.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Kuliah lagi di Malang Gempa.